the shores of Britain, to the many ports along our coast, come visitors from over the sea, people from the countries next door. Folks from France, Belgium and Holland, from Scandinavia and Italy. They come on holiday, not only to see Britain, but to get to know the British people. For many, it's their first visit abroad, whether they've come for a fortnight's mountain climbing or 10 days in a luxury hotel. Every visitor is anxious to see how this country differs from his own. What sort of people do they think we are? Our neighbors have come to find out for themselves. They're soon passing through countryside, new and exciting to the visitor. The fields, the farms, the English scenery, all are quite strange to foreign eyes. They come to see for themselves the places they've read about in their history books. A glimpse firsthand of Trafalgar Square is worth an album of picture postcards. These visitors are interested in our way of life, whether it be in London or in Edinburgh. The castle, originally fortified by the Scots against the English, now looks out over a city where Scotsmen and Englishmen work side by side. In the past, the sea was a real barrier between Britain and the mainland of Europe. But today, the barriers of space and time are dissolving. A letter posted by the Lord Mayor of London at St. Paul's reached the center of Paris 49 minutes later. Jet aircraft set up new records. London to Rome in just over 2 hours. These are exceptional events. But many times a day, planes leave Northolt for the continent. We can't stay remote on our island any longer. The habit of keeping to ourselves, of doggedly minding our own business, now belongs to the past. Only a thin strip of sea divides us from our European cousins. The old buildings and crooked streets of medieval France are closer to the Englishmen of today than London was to Brighton 50 years ago. There is some difference, yet much similarity, between a street market in Rochdale and a street market in Rouen, a housewife in Lille and a housewife in Liverpool. But tourist trips are one thing. Living and working in a foreign country are another. Young people are anxious to understand the customs and way of life of their neighbors next door. Europeans are getting together, getting to understand one another. Like these students from 12 European countries studying education in England. But still time for sightseeing and an English cup of tea. In the lovely city of Florence, European students are getting first-hand knowledge of Italian art and the Italian people. In turn, young people from many European countries visit Britain. They're learning much more than the facts of British farming. They're learning how to live under one roof in harmony and understanding. Italians visiting London flats. For these women, England means so much more than Westminster or Trafalgar Square. Cooperation in learning, competition in sport. The Olympic Games, 1948. A supreme example of competition and of cooperation. Sportsmanship belongs to all nations. Maureen Gardner thought she'd won, and Britain cheered her to victory. She and Fanny Blankers-Koen awaited the result. But the Flying Dutchwoman had won by a fraction. Maureen was a gallant loser. Her victory was goodwill between nations. But comradeship goes deeper and is welded by the struggles of the past. For many people in northern France, the memory of D-Day is still very clear. They understand, with the mothers in Britain, what that day meant to so many families. Grief belongs not to one family, not to one nation. And our friends think not only of the dead, they remember the wounded still in hospital. It does our men good to know that they are remembered by our Belgian friends. And for the young, the future promises a new horizon. Our children will be more than British. They'll be Europeans. These war orphans are on their way from Dover to a holiday in Belgium. What better wedding present could the people of Belgium have given to Princess Elizabeth? Children from Europe coming to Britain to live with British families. Ailing children from Britain on their way to Switzerland, on their way to better health and the high mountain air. When a country takes into its arms the children of its neighbor, that is a step towards real understanding. Nations are finding new ways of expressing understanding and goodwill. This tree, the Christmas present to Britain, comes from the very hearts of the people of Norway.